Hello, folks, and welcome to our Ko-Fi support page and the Aftershow we are doing for episode 5 of the Starcrier conflict. And boy, it's a big one. I am glad we got out of our mechs and got into some narrative play. I do love me the mech combat in Lancer, but man, I feel like we got so much more exciting, cool narrative stuff out of this. Not to downplay any of the combat, I think it was great. But man, just so many cool cinematic moments, so many tense conversations that were being had, a lot of great roleplay and a lot of great character defining moments today. So we're going to talk about some of that. Obviously, if you are watching this, you are a supporter, and I can only assume that you like the show and like this channel, so thank you. Let's jump right into it with the question I always ask. Everyone enjoy the game tonight?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Lion,
I feel like things just got way harder.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. Like
So,
compounding reasons. Like not even just because of this episode, but because of all of the things that we've done previous to this episode now causing us problems.
This first mission
Listen,
has been
I'm
a
not
whole
gonna-
journey.
Yeah, I'm not going to point any fingers. I'm just going to mention that things seem like they really started going poorly when we lost the ability to know what was going on. But, no fingers pointed. None.
If you want a
Zero.
fist fight in a Denny's parking lot, you gotta meet me on the West
Waffle
Coast,
House.
okay?
Waffle House. Waffle House. Come on.
Well, it's really
There's no
Sherry's
Waffle
in
House.
here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Anyways.
mean, we can just come down south. We can just do it. Yeah, we have plenty of Waffle House.
There you
It's
go.
fine.
Just cut the
Yep.
distance and
Let's go.
meet somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. I'll act as the neutral party. It's been a wild ride this entire time. And we've tried to make it easier on our step.
Oh,
Cut out.
you cut out a bunch there.
Of course I did. Why?
Sorry.
Why? Not you, the microphone. It's fine. Yeah, no, just every step we take just really seems to, I don't know, set us back or put us on a completely new path. It's wild. It's a wild time.
Yeah. So let's break that down throughout this episode. And I'll admit, coming into this episode, I had no idea what direction you guys were going to go. I just know what the sandbox is, what little sand castles I have made within the little 2x4s that it's set up in between, with some toys that I put in there for all of us to play with. So I got the locations, I got the actors, and I got a foundation of what people want to do, and that's about it. Because really, you guys could have went anywhere with that conversation with the squad of, we'll call them civilians, the civilian squad that was sent out there. And I assumed that it was most likely that somebody was going to go into the building and either try to infiltrate through stealth and try to stealth their way through the building and just assassinate the guy, or actually go in and talk. There was a slight possibility you guys could actually get some sort of way of, actual direct communication with the squad, and they certainly had things that they would have said if they felt able to, I will say, which could have led you to a completely different story path. So, man, my mind is just spinning right now. Thinking about everything that has happened and everything I have to plan and all the cool stuff that happened today. So, where do we even want to begin with breaking this down? I think really the conversation outside at the very beginning with these folks, with the civilian squad, and that was still when you guys were trying to find some means of communication. Let me start here with Haley. You were the one to, as you said it, pull back on the dog's leash. and reach out to the Commodore. Where'd that come from?
Mhm.
Because I wasn't expecting it to be you.
Yeah, no, that was. I had thought about it throughout the week of where Shiv's stance kind of was in all of this and what I considered their priority in what was happening. And I think it came down to just a knowledge that there were multiple ways to go about things. And so, like, okay, Athen tried one way and it clearly didn't work and it wasn't going to get us anywhere further. And so there was the chance of, like, ingratiating myself or the rest of our team by just being like, yeah, no, that's our guard dog. He's scary and I'm willing to let him go. Or we could try this again. And so it became more crystallized in my head that the bigger deal here was that the more we annoyed this guy, the more he was willing to give up with civilians specifically. And so that's where I kind of decided the line was. And so it's like, okay, they hate this guy, they hate the situation. It's not a good scenario, but how do I minimize things? And talking was the best way to get at it.
Yeah. So, and I think that that call went well, more or less. I know I may have chimed in afterwards and may have changed what you guys were going to do with my clarifying questions as to who was going in. Again, I never want to take away player agency. You guys did decide to split up and go 2 in, 2 out. What are we all happy with that decision? Any regrets everybody not going in? Anyone who would have preferred that everyone go in?
I still think it was the
don't know.
best idea to split up.
Mm-hmm.
Hard
I
agree.
don't know. Blacksmith going in was
That was
the
my
move.
next question. I just
yeah.
pulled the dog's
Stunned
leash.
That was the decision.
Here you go.
So. All right,
Mhm.
let
I was blown away.
me explain my thought pattern there,
I'm listening.
because I felt that there was a better than average chance that things would turn violent inside.
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion was that out of all of us, Blacksmith was probably the most capable in case somebody had to put fist to faces.
Yeah.
Right, but he also was like clearly the one who was going to make it the best chance of masturbation.
Yeah, so maybe that was a miscalculation on that portion of it.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, I feel like I'm getting blamed for this right now. I don't really
No.
appreciate
Absolutely
it.
not.
No, it's fine. It's
not.
always Havoc's
No.
fault. It's
I-
fine.
No, the thing is that I wanted to go in because I have a skill set that is decent at taking care of situations like this.
Mhm.
But I tried to be like cordial. I was trying to lay out facts.
Did you? Were you?
For the most part, yes, I was. Up until
Okay.
I tried to
The
eject me from the
Commodore was
premises. Yeah.
pressing very specific buttons for both of them.
Correct.
That felt
Correct.
very backstory relevant to, like, set them off.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't blame how that went. I think obviously, like, could have been better. Yes,
Truly.
but like,
Hmm.
it makes perfect sense in my mind how
So-
that went down.
This
Yeah.
might actually be a disconnect between player and GM. You do legitimately think you were playing it cool and respectful there.
I mean, like I was trying to lay out options for to de-escalate and to.
Because you were
And the
pretty adamant
conflict.
on the only way going forward is we arrest you.
It's
I
what
mean-
the mission was. It's what we were
Yeah.
sent there to do.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying you're
was-
wrong.
I'm pulling a good soldiers follow orders kind of
All right.
situation.
Yeah.
So,
No,
You
it
can
makes perfect
you
sense.
can be respectful. Yeah, you can be respectful without violating the parameters you're here to accomplish, right?
Sure.
Listen,
Right.
this is what has to happen here. This is how it ends. If I disappeared, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm coming back. Anyway, this is how the mission goes. This is how it has to end.
Mm.
That's it. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
fight. I don't have to disrespect you. we can make this very simple, and I'm giving you that opportunity and laying out all the details. And I think that's exactly what that was. I would say
It's
that's
true.
Sure.
as respectful as you could
that's
be.
what I was trying to do, considering,
Yeah.
like, also I want to point out, though, that, like, it's very hard to want to be cordial with basically a pirate who's
Oh, yeah.
sending civilians out
Slimy person.
and literally shot one in front of us. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be like, sure, you want me to pour you some tea? I'm not going
No.
to, like... he personally did not shoot them. I understand that, but...
Mhm.
It doesn't change what was done in his name.
The only one who
It's
got
true.
shot was the guy you were originally talking to, and he was shot by another civilian.
Exactly. Again,
He
not-
did
not
detonate
him
something
directly.
somewhere, so I mean, I'm not arguing he's
Also
a good
that.
guy.
Okay, so there was a couple of things. I'm not saying that it was bad for you to go in there, because you are absolutely someone to be in the, if shit's going down. However, you are also like the more like vocally aggressive one when it comes to,
Alright.
and you were talking gas shit. That was my favorite part.
I'm glad I'm not the
whole
only one
time.
who is thinking that.
No,
Okay.
absolutely.
I mean, the thing, though, is literally as soon as it came out, this guy's Satcom, like...
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
That, like,
that
the
was,
thing is, like, literally, that
Yeah.
immediately puts him in, like, fascist, expansionist mindset
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's going to just be a disconnect. And at that point, negotiations were over.
Yeah,
Oh,
as
no,
soon as
for
we figured out that
sure.
it
It was
was
a big red
Satcom,
button.
it was like,
Mhm.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and to be fair, the vibes were rancid from the get-go,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
It's
why
like-
as soon as... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, no, you probably shouldn't have let me continue. There was a little bit of a vibe of Tavik in there as well, which
It's just part of the Harrison
That's
blood.
good. That's good.
correct. That's
Yeah,
what I
yep.
kind of got from there.
I mean, Harrison is a direct offshoot of Setcom. Harrison
that's
is
what I was gonna
Setcom
say.
in everything but name.
Yeah, that's 100%. That's the whole point. And like, so when it was mentioned, and Starblood was on the call, and is immediately like, okay, there's only one way this ends now. I get where he's coming from. I understand what is happening here. You will not be able to achieve what you are trying to achieve. You need to get them out of there so we can do this a different way.
It was probably not possible without an actual combat conflict like this to obtain your primary objective through the means and direction that you were provided. Were there other options? Absolutely. Were there other avenues and other endings that could be achieved that, while did not accomplish the primary objective, could have been deemed mission success? Yes. But I think that's as much as I can say at this point, because we're still in it. But absolutely not I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Andrew, I think you played your character fantastic. I'm not coming down on you or your character. I think it was great. What I have come to recognize, at least through my perception, is that I'm not sure this team has a face. Like, talking Shadowrun, Cyberpunk lingo here, I don't think this team has a face. The character who will go out of his way to try to talk a situation down. Which is gonna make things interesting,
really.
because I am the face.
Yeah, no, it feels like, well, that was something too that I thought about before I spoke up at the very beginning. I was like, okay, cool. Siobhan doesn't want to be the face, for one thing, doesn't want that kind of attention, and two, I never intended for her to be good at it. So I had to think to myself, I have to have a good reason to do this, or like a plan in mind for if I do it. But no, I've noticed that too. It's something where like we kind of fit a lot of other avenues, but it doesn't feel like any one of us. I mean, Tavik probably thinks of himself as a face and a diplomat.
Well,
oh, good. Glad.
You said diplomat, and that changes things a bit. Look, I think I think it's fair to say that there is an argument to be made for Tavik being the closest thing they have to a face. I don't think that makes him a face. But I do think that just based on like the amount of the experiences, right, that have brought everyone to this point collectively, he's probably the closest thing. The only problem becomes it's not charm so much as just smugness, which is important. Although I will say that yes, I will point out though that I think one of my favorite things about like TTRPGs in general is when you get into situations like this where it's clear that you don't have the specific like functioning portion of the team, where you will find out organically who's going to end up filling that role, right? As time goes on, because someone's going to have to end up adapting to over time and realizing that that has to be fulfilled by someone, even if it's not the best. It will be there in some way, and I think that's really cool. And until then, no, I mean, Tavik's around.
Essentially,
Well-
what that means is that somebody in this group is gonna have to shape up because we simply can't have Tavik being the face.
Tavik can only save y'all so many times in so many different ways. He can't do everything at once. Come on.
Oh
If
yeah.
I wasn't injured, I would shoot you. I swear to God.
Yep.
But you got injured,
We're,
right?
we're gonna get back to that. But actually, I did
No,
want to
but-
say, Solitaire. I think you were playing the game in the conference meeting, and I was wondering if you were going to leave with Blacksmith, and you did. Was there any hesitation there?
Yes, because he absolutely wants to know what the Commodore's talking about.
Yeah.
It definitely piqued his interest, but at the same time, he did not want to leave Blacksmith.
Yeah, very reasonable.
I mean, he's very fact-based. Numbers and
The facts as you know
physics,
and perceive
you
them.
know. Precisely. So
Yeah,
having this.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that I may have misread what you were trying to like say there, because I felt like the glance was like it's go time. So that was the way that I
No,
read
that
it.
was questioning, because as it stands,
Oh.
Athen he's in charge. So
That's on
when
you
they were
guys to
trying to
decide. You are
remove him.
Lancers. You don't have anyone in charge except maybe Starblood, who was put in operational support command.
Yeah, well, I think because he's the second ranked.
Yes.
Yeah.
I assume what's
defaulted.
on.
yeah, I mean he was designated as the lead for that unit for this mission. So in August's mind, he's like, well, do we just leave or do we turn this into something else so that we can accomplish this objective? And he was totally going to follow Athens' lead there. So, I mean, he wasn't going to on his own to turn it violent necessarily, even though some of the things that the Commodore were saying definitely made him want to.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there were definitely times where I had in my mind this picture of him grabbing him and smacking him into the table for some of the things.
Yeah, when he was leaning over the
Instead-
table, I about tried to do like a take control thing to just like at least put him in between me and the guards kind of situation. Be like, all right, we're going. But even then, not a good idea. As I said it in the group chat, it was a very bad idea.
It was
So
fantastic.
But I think it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense for the blacksmith that we are learning
Oh, yeah.
about. And so does the good soldier following routine. This is our mission, as it's laid out. I think that was great, and I think it was very appropriate that Blacksmith read Solitaire's glance like that, because I took it a completely different way. I thought that glance was, "Get ready! I'm about to throw my knife into this guy's eye." That's where
Yeah,
I thought it
as
was
in
going.
go time.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, for sure. Go time is where I thought it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Okay,
and
so-
all I'm hearing right now is that the next time somebody has a bad idea, it's third time's the charm, because Shiv had a bad idea, started this mission on a weird spot. you know, Athen
Yeah,
has
weird.
a bad idea.
That's one way to put
yeah,
it.
it's fine. So the next bad idea is absolutely going to work.
Absolutely.
Listen, we've been playing it fast and loose here. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So, yeah, that conversation in the boardroom.
It was intense.
Yeah, it was a
really
razor's edge even for me. There is something I enjoy too much about trying to make an absolutely horrible person sound good.
Mm.
And knowing
No one-
that
Yeah.
he's the only one who believes that.
Yeah, right. Because
Mhm.
he believes it wholeheartedly. I'm not a monster. Ooh, but
Yeah.
maybe you are though. Is
Yeah.
the thing.
No one believes they're the bad guy. They believe what they're
Yep.
doing is for the greater good.
So
I think there are two specific villain archetypes that I personally love, both portraying and just existing around, which are those villains, the ones where it's like no one else may get it, but I know that I'm the hero and what I'm doing is good. And
I'm just
important.
doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, this is the only way it has to be this way. And then the other villain archetype I really like is the opposite, where it's like, yeah, I'm the bad guy. I love being the bad guy. That's exactly what I want to be, and it is fulfilling. What are you going to do about it?
In my head, it's Magneto versus Mr. Sinister.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, 100%.
Good call.
That's exactly what it is. Although I will push back on Magneto as a villain, but that's a whole conversation for another
Yeah,
time.
we'll hold that for later. one of my biggest influences
talk about
for one of my biggest influences for the Commodore is actually Captain Crace in Farscape.
I could feel it. I
Yeah.
could feel the energy.
Season 1, Captain Crace. Yep.
So
Is where I was going with that, with my own level of Hevered Heart thrown in. Which is a reference to a crumbling foundation over on Lions channel, for anybody watching along. Because again, I love playing absolute skis balls who think they're good people. Yeah, I mean, I love being a GM because I get to play NPCs. And my journey finding NPCs, especially major NPCs, is just as fulfilling to me as playing a player character. And I say that because the Commodore is definitely developing in a way that is not originally what I intended, but I think is going in a really nice direction. And we'll see how things go next week as to whether he's reoccurring or not. But I'm liking the character. I think he's doing what he was meant to do. Especially being presented in the direction you guys have taken the story.
I'm enjoying it.
yeah, same.
I'm glad. So another question I wanted to ask. Before we went on break, Haley, you were trying to find a way to better communicate with these guys, and you did learn, or at least you were pointed in the direction of the shantytown camp over there, and whatever those rocks are, and the mining pit where there was the explosion. And I could see the gears sort of turning in your head, and then we went on break. And unfortunately, we came back, and almost immediately things kicked off. If I instead threw the camera back to you first, do you think it would have gone different? Did you see taking what you had as your part of the story and going in a different direction?
I'm not sure, mostly because tonight I was hitting the clutch, but we were not sitting in the gear properly in my brain. So
I think you did great.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I was struggle busing. No, but
Every week, baby. Every week.
I love in TTRPGs, especially when like big threat things are happening nearby, trying to circumvent things. I love playing rogues. I love taking utility spells as a wizard, like that kind of thing. So I'm I'm trying to get into the groove doing it as this character because it's with mechanics that I'm not used to.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that, and then trying to play charades to get information.
I
that
really
made
liked
sense.
that. I thought that was brilliant
That
and
was-
went so
that
well.
was great.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, how do I make it so they can talk? And I was like, we're gonna do the weirdest game of
Mhm.
charades ever. Well, because it was a lot. But I think if I had had more time, if I was in a better brain state, I probably could have asked better questions and gotten myself to where I think I was headed, which was figuring out how to take the bullets out of the gun of the Commodore, essentially.
Mm.
For whatever it's worth, I think you were absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
mean, you say ask better questions, but you can only get so much information with essentially yes or no answers, or affirmative or
Yeah.
negative answers. And I think you got a lot out of a conversation that one side did not speak for. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think that went very well.
Yeah, no. It'll be fun to know what kind of information I could have been getting out of them once all of
Mhm.
this is done, once you're free to share such info.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a real think about where this mission is going with next week. Because really, we could just hunker down and turn this into the Dress Bowl conflict if we wanted to be on this planet for so much longer. But it was never my intention for this mission to go on this. I mean, this is the tutorial mission, really.
Oops.
Oh well. I mean, a lot of that is on me for designing the combats I came up with and making this way more
This feels like
complicated.
the hardest tutorial mission I've ever been on.
Yeah.
This feels like the first Dragon's Dogma. I don't know if any
Are
of
we
you played
playing
it.
Dark
You like-
Souls?
you like walk in front of a dragon and like
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
in the trailer. I was like, what are we doing? Right?
Yep.
Anyway. Sorry.
Yeah, this see, the problem is when I GM, when I create a world, when I create a story, the longer it takes to get to the end of my thought, the more stuff I keep putting in it.
Mm-hmm.
So every week I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I didn't think about that, but we're totally adding that in now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
it'd be like that sometimes.
I seriously do have so much more, in my little toolbox over here for if you went different places and talked to different people and said different things. But I mean that's just GM life. Always having prepared far more than you need,
Yes.
and also never having enough of what you need. So, yeah, longest and most difficult tutorial mission. That's fair. That's fair. It's kind of ballooned, and you guys have definitely taken it a different direction than I would have if I was the player, and I think that's perfect. I love that. I absolutely love that because it's
You definitely
challenging.
came out swinging.
Yeah.
with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It really challenges you as the GM, and it keeps things exciting as a GM, because if the players always do what you expect them to do, I mean, it's fun. You can still make things cool, but you're never at the edge of your seat. Like, I've been at the edge of my seat, staring off into space like, oh, fuck, how do I make this work? All session.
Chaos is the greatest gift that any group of players can give their
Yeah.
game. And I'm so glad we're providing you with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. The number of times you've said, "Are you sure about that?"
I don't
Oh,
usually ask that
beautiful.
question.
Beautiful.
I love it.
I think I've asked that question more this session than I ever have another group.
But notice the answer was almost always yes.
Yeah, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I ever ask for is clarification and consent to continue. I am never trying to dissuade what you guys want to do. So, I think that's all the pointed questions I have. Do you guys have any questions for me? I can't say I'll be able to answer them,
I was
but
gonna say nothing you can answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know you can't heal mechs. Are there like med packs?
There's stims,
Sweet.
but I don't think any of them actually give back HP.
I mean, there's
Oh, okay.
there's a skill trigger that's called patch. That's like about it.
Yeah, I think that's mostly for
Somebody should take
stabilizing.
that.
I don't know if that necessarily gives
Mhm.
back HP either.
No.
Yeah.
Oh boy, is there?
I think there's
Yeah.
if for some reason you hit 0, you're not dead. You're just down and out. You're
Down,
just
yeah.
unconscious
Yeah.
for the time being.
When you go down and out, you
Okay.
roll a d6, and only on a 1 do you flat out die. And
Like
even
die,
then,
yeah.
I'd probably find it some way for that to keep going.
Heard.
Unless you choose to die. At least for the first or second mission. I don't want to be killing off characters at the beginning of my show.
Logan it was short but sweet, but boy did he burn bright.
Yeah, Desperado, you have a knack at getting shot.
You do?
You're a bullet magnet.
Hey, I mean, you took 10 guys out, so
yeah.
You did. You
Dude,
did.
that was freaking awesome.
I can't
Yeah.
even get past
So cool.
4. So
No, it's fine. It's fine. You got it next time for sure.
That was a super cool moment, by the way. That was so
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you. Thank
Both
you.
were. Both absolutely were. The boardroom blitz and Cowboy
Yes.
Matrix over here.
Boardroom Blitz.
I like that as the name of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was planning on just having Premiere Part 1 and 2, but since we're up to Part 4 now, I might have to actually start giving these individual titles. So, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think they were both really awesome scenes, both really awesome cinematic scenes that were based on really excellent ideas made in character very authentically. I hope I didn't come off too harsh with that role in the boardroom, because the odds were definitely stacked against you, and I was hoping to present the situation to the point where I was telegraphing that you guys were in over your head if you chose to start a fight. So when you decided to start a fight, I had to smack you for it. So I didn't make it heroic, because I knew I couldn't. That sounded absolutely unfair. So I hope it didn't sound absolutely unfair.
I'm gonna introduce you to one of my favorite. It's called "Fuck It, We Ball."
Apparently. That's the motto for this group.
I mean, listen, it's time to pop off sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta pop off one time,
Yep.
or 2 or 3 times, and that's
Hopefully,
just what it is.
hopefully you don't get popped off on more than you already have. Let's stick to the one time, because you are not looking great, friend.
No, I'm looking fine. What do you mean? It's just a
It's
flesh
not.
wound.
That's not how that
It's just
works.
a flesh wound. It's absolutely how that works. I'm still alive, and they're all down.
One
all
group
down.
of them. Hang on. One group of them is down.
I mean, yeah. That's really all I cared about. The ones immediately in front of me. I can get in the. I can get in my cockpit now.
That's fair.
Put that nice little shell on real quick.
So the boardroom blitz specifically, though. Yeah, again, I hope it wasn't too unfair of a difficulty challenge. But it was very interesting that one person succeeded and the other didn't, which honestly I think is the best outcome. Or I should say the most narratively interesting outcome. I know players never like to fail at what they are trying to do, especially when they're trying to do something so cool. But the cinematic as it was playing out in my head of Blacksmith getting grabbed and Solitaire running forward, and that beat where you turned around like, I'm gonna turn around, I gotta help, and the beat from Blacksmith, no, go after that guy. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely ratcheted up the tension of. It was hard though, being like one of the players outside, knowing that chaos was absolutely ensuing inside because of what we had already been told, but like not knowing enough to be like, oh, shit's really going down.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that fun, like, kind of dramatic irony of knowing but not knowing how dire the situation was.
I will say I did not expect him to immediately wrap it like that.
Mm.
Sure did.
Oh yeah, the bitch ran away. Like, come on, at least throw one punch. But I guess that's smarter when you're slimy like that.
And when you know you have overwhelming force already taking care of the situation.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Smart
told him handle
villains
his
were
light
the
work.
worst.
no, they're pretty bad.
But also, I did not want to shoot you guys with that gun.
Seriously.
is one of the reasons he left. But I mean, it was always in the book that he will leave if pressed, because again, Captain Crace. Yeah, so that's gonna be real interesting because now we're split all over the place, really, and I love it. What would I know? We're gonna wrap up here, I promise. What was going through Solitaire's mind at that beat when Athen said, "No, you get this fucker"?
Is very conflicted because his natural instinct is to go back and help Athen, but at the same time, he tends to operate, like I said, he fact-based, logic, this kind of stuff. They're here for a reason. He's been given a direction. He feels compelled to follow through with that. Logically, in order to succeed, it makes more sense for him to go after the Commodore and try to bring him down, capture him, etc. But there's also that Athen is probably the only person he actually considers a friend at the moment. Like above and beyond, anybody else. The others right now are still more co-workers, so to speak. But Athen he kind of considers as close to a friend as he has on the station. As far as, the other Lancers and such go. So there's a lot of internal conflict there, and he's definitely not happy about the choice that was made. And that I can absolutely see that having some personal narrative consequences in the future.
All right. Also, thank you. Well, unless there's anything more from you guys, that's all I have, or at least all I can talk about.
It's good for me for now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward to the next bit.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, one thing I would like to put in your minds, and I will say this for our supporters, do start thinking about things you want to do once you get back to Far Station 12, because we're going to have a downtime episode, at least one downtime episode after this mission. I know it's been a long one. We're going to need some time to wind down, give you guys some time to do some role-playing stuff, some party building, character building stuff outside of the field, back in a nice, safe place where you guys can go and do things. So think about what your character's interests are, where they might want to go, who you might want to invite, fun things that you might be able to do on the station before we jump immediately into the next mission. But and we'll that gives us more things to talk about on a future after show episode. But with that, I think that's all we have for episode 5. I am really looking forward to a full sort of after show debrief once we complete this first mission. Hopefully next week, maybe next week. We'll see. Thank you so much for your support. Kofi people, means a lot, really helps out. And thank you so much, cast, for sticking around later into the night to talk about this, and for being such great cast members. This game is so enjoyable. I've had so much fun. I think you guys are telling an absolutely fantastic show with some absolutely fantastic characters. Thank you and good night, folks. Happy time zone.
Love
Bye-bye.
you.